So we are carrying on with part 2, debunking why the UK trial with Amber Heard was a complete scam and not a reason for her to say she won in the UK, because as I said previously, she wasn't even a defendant in the UK. Now, I already started talking about this in my previous video about this, so please check this out. These will all be in the playlist and they'll all have part 1, part 2, blah, blah, blah. So go ahead and follow that if you haven't. In this video, we're going to talk about the audio and the video that was brought to the table in front of the judge in the UK and how he was still able to dismiss all of her claims. We're going to talk about after that why I think the judge himself anyways, or herself, sorry, was him or herself, I'm not sure if it was a man or a woman, is probably corrupt, and the reasons why I believe that, and that goes in line with a lot of the videos I've already made, a lot of the things I've already told you guys about on this channel. And then also I just want to highlight what this means in general as far as where we are in society today, and why these claims that Amber won in the UK, she did not win in the UK, and why we need to sign the petition created by the black belt barrister, who's also on YouTube. Please do check out his channel, to reopen the UK trial. Why I need to reopen the UK trial and shut down and shut up these narcissistic minions running around saying, well, she won in the UK, because she didn't win in the UK because she wasn't even tried in the UK. So let's talk about it. Now we're going on to the audio, which is another piece of evidence that was brought forward to kind of bring Amber Heard's credibility into question. Now, we already discussed in the previous video a few other things that she'd already done that proved that she was a liar, that proved that she was willing to forge documents and make false statements, etc. And the judge overlooked them. Now we've got more evidence that we can use that's even more compelling in my perspective, as was also echoed by the black belt barrister. That being that there was an audio clip played by Amber where she did 3 things that I've noted. She admitted she had hit Johnny. First of all, she admits she hit Johnny. So there was violence there. There was an admission of violence on her part. She admitted that she starts the fights and the fights. She admitted that. She said, yes, I do start the fights. And you can go and watch the clips are in the black belt barrister's video. He's got the audio where you can hear her. And she's basically, and then thirdly, she kind of mocks Johnny for being the bigger person. And this is something I really wanted to highlight in my videos, because it's very interesting, isn't it, that she would say, after claiming that, oh, she's been through all of this, and oh, she's been a victim, and oh, blah, 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 but what's happening over there is she's mocking Johnny essentially for not getting involved. And again, I'm not going to go into this in this video because that's not what this video is about. I actually did a separate video about how Amber Heard's reaction. Amber Heard is an example of why I think a lot of men are not interested in a lot of women nowadays. So check that video out if you are if you want to know more about that. But I mean, even just the fact her being very provocative, it's almost like she was trying to get something. She was almost, I'm almost getting the energy that maybe she was trying to get him to do something. But anyway, that's not for this video. Now, even though there was this audio clip that we can all listen to, we can all see, we can all hear, I heard it for myself, you can hear it for yourself, like I said in the black barrister's videos, the judge dismisses this, and the judge dismisses this evidence as affecting her credibility, because he says that it's not done under oath. The claims that were just made in the video were not done under oath. The clarifications can't be made, and that the information was not necessarily said to convey like truthful information. I'm kind of paraphrasing, you know, what was written in the legal documents. Isn't that very interesting? Isn't that interesting that we have audio, and I mentioned this, guys, because I talk to you guys about this stuff all the time. For those of you who've been on my channel, a lot of you guys at the moment are new, so hello. But I talk all the time about how imbalanced the justice system can be. Somebody else, in fact, I'll give you guys an example of a real life case of a real life person that I met, right? I met a woman, and her partner was going to prison, and potentially doing a long time, actually. I think he was maybe going to get 13 years, purely just because he was seen on camera. Somebody got shot. He didn't do the shooting. Somebody else did the shooting. He wasn't even involved in the shooting. She was telling me the story, and for me, because we were just talking about it and I'm not connected to the case, I'm not involved anyway, I see no reason why she would lie to me. But let's say she did anyway, just for the sake of the people who are going to say, well, maybe she could have lied. Regardless, he did not shoot, right? But the fact that he was in the camera, and this is in the UK, so we're talking about, and I have experience with the UK justice system, let me just tell you that. That's why I'm like, this is when you know the Lord is like, yeah, certain things he puts you through for a reason. I have I haven't been to jail though, just putting that out there because someone's gonna be like, she's a whatever. But anyway, so I have my experience with the UK justice system. Yes, I have spoken with barristers. I have spoken to judges and things myself, as it happens, on multiple different reasons. But anyway, so this woman was telling me that her husband, her boyfriend, sorry, they weren't married. Her boyfriend was going to potentially be doing like 13 years because he was on the scene in the CCTV when he got shot. Now, this is the thing. Over here with the Amber Heard trial, you're hearing Amber actually admit to guilt. So think about this. Put those two situations next to you. You got Amber Heard admitting that admitting she hit Johnny. She's admitting she starts to play fight, and then she mocks Johnny for being the bigger person, right? She's mocking him. That's me paraphrasing, by the way. She's mocking him for being the bigger person, like in the audio clip. From the judge, he says, well, this was not made under oath, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm looking over here like, so what about this guy? You don't know what he was doing there. He was just caught in the CCTV. And I wish I could remember the reason the woman gave as to why he was even there in the first place. But can you see the differences here? Can you see how, and this is why I always say to you guys that Hollywood, it's very corrupt and everybody's in bed with everybody. But we're going to talk about that when we get to the judge's connections, and why I feel that this case, that Amber Heard was even able to get this far in the first place after this. So it's very disappointing that this is what the judge said. I get the point that, sometimes if you make a claim, so for example, if I'm talking to somebody in conversation, I'm not necessarily being held under oath and being tried for a specific thing. So that does not put me under the pressure or the oath, or I've not made an agreement that I'm going to speak the truth. That's understandable. However, I don't know if you guys remember the case where the case where there was that girl who had texted her boyfriend, wanted to unalive himself, he wanted to take his own life, and she started to text him to say, well, you should do it. And there's a lot of situations that happen like this. This was a situation, I believe, that went down in the US. And in that case, the fact that she had told him via text message, do it, was something that was brought into question and was taken into consideration, even though in that case, was what she was saying, was she necessarily conveying truthful information? Was she just saying, we don't know why she was saying that. Was she held under oath? No, she was not. She was just texting her boyfriend. So again, interesting how it's like one thing for one group of people, one thing for another. Again, my suggestion as to why I believe a lot of this stuff is corrupt, and also again, thank the Lord for the likes of the black belt barrister who are actually going against and speaking up about, the different things that go on in the justice system and actually standing up for the people. So I really appreciate that. Interestingly enough, after all of this, there was a whole situation where then Johnny Depp had been called by a monster by Amber Heard. Now, I think, the terms that we call people, and this is why I'm very much against name calling. I've said this to a lot of you guys before. I'm very much against calling people names, because first of all, calling somebody a name does not give you any information as to what the wrongdoing that person has done to you. So if somebody has done you wrong, better you just call out whatever the thing is that they've done wrong and go from there. So the fact that here she called him a monster, again, it's kind of like when people do the angry black woman thing, like calling me an angry black woman. It's easy for people to run along with that narrative, because that's something that's in society that's stereotypical, in the same way that it's more stereotypical for people to hear of women who have been victims of domestic violence as opposed to men. So calling him a monster or referring to him as Jekyll and Hyde, which I don't know if you guys know about Jekyll and Hyde. I won't try to explain it too well, but basically it's like, I don't know if you want to call it a tale or whatever you want to call it, of a guy basically who like switched between two personalities. And I'm very much paraphrasing this so that we don't go on to a long story of Jekyll and Hyde. But he would be nice, but then he would also switch and be this very evil guy. Like, he was first of all this like timid scientist who would then switch into this evil, horrible man. And so she's accusing him of being like that. And then the judge did not accept that she invented this expression of him being a monster, which again, very odd in my opinion, because if she's saying this, she's coming up with that for herself. How else is the expression invented? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not born a monster. It's like how you can say Johnny Depp was, and this is my problem with calling names and things as opposed to calling out the behavior of somebody, because saying somebody is an abuser, if they abused you, and then you can call somebody an abuser. Calling somebody a monster, and then for the judge to not accept that Miss Heard invented the expression is actually very strange. Not to mention the fact that then it was used against Johnny that he had said to use the term monster himself in a conversation that he'd had with Elton John, to kind of be like, you know, if not for you, the monster would have won, blah, 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 blah. Again, in both senses, the word monster is very ambiguous. You can't, where there is no definition here. There is no definition of monster. I don't see anywhere where there was a clarification of the definition of what people meant by monster. People can say what they want to say. You know what I mean? I was watching a video of a woman eating a whole bunch of food, literally hours ago, and a guy called her a monster. He was like, you're a monster, you know, because she was eating so much food. So when we use these types of terms, it's very disappointing that in the judicial process, where things and facts and figures are supposed to be the things that are focused on, and evidence as opposed to opinion, it's very disappointing that the judge made that decision. And therefore, that's also another reason why I believe that there is corruption going on here, and another reason why you need to sign the petition. If you haven't signed the petition already, I'm going to keep mentioning it, because I really think it's important to reopen this trial. Because what we're saying here is, I'm not saying we're going to automatically, I'm not here saying that I'm here as a cheerleader supporting everything that Johnny Depp does. Absolutely not. Okay, there are negative things that he has to bring to the table as well, and there are things about him that are sus as well, separate from this issue. In this specific issue, he was the one who was at fault. And the fact we need to fight back on these types of things, because this is the same judicial systems that affects us. I've seen this myself. I've seen this from loved ones, people who are not necessarily my loved ones, go through these same judicial processes and courtrooms and everything as these people. This affects us. This affects our system. This affects us directly. And that's why it's very important that we look at these types of things. I'm not just here talking about this stuff, guys, because I'm like, oh, what's the tea? That's why you find certain things you don't hear me speak about. The people who've been following me for a while know I don't just speak about things for the tea. I speak about it to shed light on the injustices, to shed light on truth. I share about things for us to learn lessons. And so that's why it's important for us to stand up for these types of things, because you might think that you don't care, these are just celebrities or whatever. This stuff affects you, and regardless, those celebrities are still human beings, and that behavior is still unacceptable. So I hope that you guys, if you are able to, will sign the petition. You've got all the information in the petition that you can read for yourself as to what the claims are, what they're trying to achieve. Because at this point, as I didn't actually clarify in the previous video, and the nature of what had happened, they tried to request an appeal for, you know, Amber. This is what this whole thing was about, was trying to get Amber to be able to be, they tried to request an appeal, and the appeal was denied. And in order for there to be an appeal, they can't go through the normal processes, which is why the black belt barrister, who had the legal knowledge of know-how of how to do this, suggested, okay, instead, let's start a petition, because this is something that can bring attention, because enough people are behind it, etc., etc. So there's that. Now, lastly, this is probably one of the weaker pieces of evidence, although I think it's still worth considering in this whole situation, and that is actually, I'm going to talk about this in the next video. Because I don't want to make this super long. I want these videos to be short and concise-ish as possible. So yeah, check out the petition below. In the next video, I'm going to be talking about the video by Amber Heard's sister, as well as the judge actually dismissing the statements of Johnny Depp's witnesses. So he accepted Amber's statements, despite all of these things that we're laying out, which we're going to lay out some more. However, then went on to dismiss the witness statements of Johnny Depp's witnesses, one of which was actually his bodyguard. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to talk about corruption. Hopefully you guys are already signing that petition. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the video. If you are, please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video as well. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless every single one of you, and I'll see you in part 3.